What's up, guys? It's your favorite Kiwi coach, and give me 6 months of your time and I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So welcome back, guys. In this particular video, we are going to be continuing our Checkpoint webinar series. If you did not know, on this membership site, we have a bunch of Checkpoint webinars, and it's about time that we actually go ahead and update them, make the quality a little bit better as well, make the information a whole lot deeper and a lot more detailed and a lot easier for you guys to search. So this particular video, we're going to be talking about the club shaft movement throughout the backswing and the downswing. So if you ever wondered to yourself, what should the club shaft be doing at certain sections throughout the golf swing, we are going to be giving you the exact checkpoint parameters that we use in our lessons all of the time. So this will be the club shaft movement from the down the line camera angle for irons and wedges. Let's go ahead and jump in. Real quickly, before we jump in, I just want to remind you, with the refilming of these Checkpoint webinars, the main goal is we're trying to structure out the layout of the webinars a whole lot different than what we did last time. Last time we went from P1 to P10. We did that for irons and drivers from the face-on and down the line view. And we went over 3 to 2 main checkpoints that we typically go over in our lessons. Now this time around, what we're trying to do is we're trying to go through different body parts, different kind of club shaft movements, face angle movements, and we want to separate out the videos into those types of categories. So when you guys are searching, hey, what should the club shaft be doing throughout the backswing? Or hey, what should handle first look like? Or what should shallowing look like? You guys will have individual videos that address those specific needs, as opposed to having to go through 2 main videos and try to figure out the information and find it. So I'm hoping that on the membership site, this will make everything a whole lot simpler for you. So just go ahead, go to the categories page, go ahead and click on the search bar, type in maybe checkpoints, whatever you want. And if the videos have been completed, you should see them pop up. Another way to go ahead and do it is go to the categories section, go ahead and click on the Checkpoint webinars. You should see them there as well. We are going to be filming these videos throughout 2 to 5 months, so maybe you might not find all of them yet, but they will be there eventually. So thank you guys for watching. Let's get into position 1 with the club shaft movement. All right, we're going to start off with position 1. Where should the club shaft be at position 1? So when we're taking a look at position 1 and where the club shaft should be, we're really checking the handle height at address. How high is your handle? How low is your handle? Are you within the OK checkpoint parameters? This is really important to start off the swing, because if you get the handle way out of position, you're not going to be able to hit the ball from there, right? Because either the toe will come in and hit the ground first, or maybe the heel will come in if the handle is too low. You're going to struggle, so you're going to have a massive compensation if you're outside of the OK checkpoint parameters. So just like any checkpoint in these Checkpoint webinar series, let's go find the reference point first. And it's going to be the grip in. And where is the grip in pointing relative to my body? So if we go draw a line on where my grip in is currently pointing relative to my body, we can see that it's pointing right around the belt buckle height. This is where I am pointing. So now when it comes to the OK zone, I would argue that anywhere from right around the navel to just below the belt buckle, if your grip in is pointing anywhere in these positions, you're probably going to be in an okay range when it comes for wedges and irons from this down the line view. So now if you start to get outside of those ranges, so I'm going to draw a blue circle here, right? So if I was over here, or maybe over here with where the grip in was pointing, you would be massively out of the OK zone. You're going to have a tough time hitting the golf ball and compensating to get away with that. So to review, the reference point is going to be the grip in. Where is it pointing relative to the body? If the grip in is pointing anywhere from the navel height to just below the belt buckle, you guys are going to be okay, good to go. Let's move on into position 1.5. So now we're moving into position 1.5. So the first thing to understand is, how do we find out if we're at position 1.5 or not? So the best way to do this is draw a line from the bottom of the heel and then draw it straight to where your legs are. So now what you're looking for is you want to see this point where the heel is right around the halfway point for the lower leg. So if you take a look right here, I drew a line. This is going to be right around the knee height, so the kneecap height to be specific. And then this line is going to be right around the ankle bone. So if you take a look at where the heel is, and this line that I've drawn over here, we can see that it's right around the midpoint between that bottom part of the leg. If you do that, that is going to be position 1.5, and that is a very important point for us to reference. So now, if it comes to, are we within the OK checkpoint parameters for the club shaft positioning at this point, the way that we're going to check for this, the reference point is going to be really, what is the club shaft doing relative to the ground? So if I go draw a line right around where the grip bend just starts to come out of my hands, and then draw that on the shaft, and then draw another line perpendicular to the ground. You're going to see an angle that is created. So this angle is really important because it's going to tell us if we're within the OK checkpoint parameters or not. So I'm currently at ni junata, or 27 degrees, and that's within the OK checkpoint parameters. We found that if you're within anywhere from 20 degrees to 30 degrees, that's going to be the OK zone. Now, if you start to get, let's say, somewhere over here, this is at 77 degrees, that would be way outside at this particular point in the golf swing. You're going to have some massive compensations coming down or in the backswing somewhere to kind of realign and get into an OK zone. If you start to get way over here, this would be in the opposite direction. You would also not want to be there as well. So keep it within the Niju to Sanju range, and you guys are going to be okay to go. Let's move into position 2. So now we're moving into position 2, and this is really the crossroads of the backswing. So such a crucial position. You can call it the takeaway. We call it position 2. Either way, when it comes to club shaft positioning, we're really taking a look at kind of where the club head is positioned relative to the ground and our body. And this is such a crucial part of the golf swing to get correct. So let's go ahead and get into how to check for this. So if I go ahead and draw a line from the sweet spot of the club straight down to the ground, this is really how we're checking to see if the club head is in the correct spot at position 2. And you can see that mine is currently situated just barely outside my toe line. So now when it comes to the OK checkpoint parameters, draw a line from the balls of the foot perpendicular to the ground straight up, and then go ahead and draw another line that's going to be right around maybe half a golf ball outside the hand, so something that looks like this. And if the center of the club head or the sweet spot is positioned anywhere on these lines or inside these lines, you are within the OK checkpoint parameters. So now if I draw a red circle outside of these lines like this, any club head position outside of these green lines would not be within the OK checkpoint parameters, and you would want to fix that. But currently I would be within the OK checkpoint parameters. To review, you're using the center of the club head or the sweet spot as the reference point. Draw a line straight down towards the ground. If it's within the checkpoint parameters that we just discussed, you are okay. Let's move into P2.5. So P2.5 is a very crucial position and oftentimes overlooked, and it's kind of that in between P2 and P3. What is the shaft doing between those positions? Because it is important to make sure that you're hitting all of these checkpoints when it comes to the club shaft movement. Now, when it comes to checking for P2.5, really, you want to get the hands right around pocket height or just above that, maybe right around belt buckle height. When you're checking for P2.5 on the backswing, that is when P2.5 is occurring. Now, when it comes to the reference point, we're going to be using the club shaft relative to the arms, and that's going to tell us if we're within the OK zone or not. So if I go draw a line on my club shaft, you can note that it's pretty much in the middle of my forearm is going to be where it's situated. So let's get into the OK checkpoint parameters and see if I'm within the OK zone or not. So now when it comes to the club shaft positioning at P2.5, we like to say anywhere from the middle of the bicep to right around the bottom part of the forearm. If your club shaft is anywhere within those two green lines that I have drawn here, you are within the OK zone. Now, if I were to use a red line here, and let's say my club shaft looks something like this at this point, that would be outside the checkpoint parameters, or you could even call steep at that particular point. If the club shaft was somewhere over here, that would be too flat or inside and outside the checkpoint parameters as well. So make sure to draw those two green lines anywhere from the middle of the bicep to the bottom part of the forearm. If the club shaft is within those points at P2.5, you are okay within the checkpoint parameters. Let's move into position 3. Moving into position 3, one of the most important positions on the backswing to check for this club shaft position, because there's not a lot of time before you get to the top of the swing, and if you're crazy out of position at position 3, it's going to be ever so difficult to get into the proper P4 checkpoints, which we're going to get to here in a second. Now, when it comes to position 3, we are going to be drawing an angle very similar to P1.5. So when we're drawing the angle, we want to go to the grip end, and we want to go ahead and draw the first line on the club shaft like this. Then the second line, we want to make it perpendicular to the ground. And when you complete this, you will see an angle number that pops up. So for my swing, it's right around 37 degrees. So when it comes to the OK checkpoint parameters, we typically like to see anywhere from 35 to 40 degrees is going to be the range that we tell most of our clients. So that means if I were to be, let's say, somewhere over here at 70 degrees, that would be way too flat. You would be outside the correct checkpoint parameters. If I were to be, let's say, somewhere over here, that would be way too vertical. You would be outside the checkpoint parameters. So make sure to draw the angle correctly. If you're within 35 to 40 degrees, you're going to be within the OK checkpoint parameters. Draw the line from the grip in on the club shaft, draw the next line perpendicular to the ground, check to see if you're within the range. That's it for P3. Let's move into position 4. All right, so we're moving into the top of the swing. This is position 4. So right when the hands are just starting to drop of the downswing or right before that, somewhere around there is going to be your position 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at the checkpoints of the OK zone. So now, when it comes to the checkpoints, we're going to be using the lead arm, which is going to be this arm right here, as kind of our reference point. So if we take a look at where my shaft is relative to this lead arm, we can see that my shaft is pretty much parallel to the lead arm, or it's kind of going through the lead arm. So if my shaft were to look something like this, like vertical to the ground, you would note that that would not be going parallel to the lead arm, that kind of be intersecting it. So what we want to see as the perfect checkpoint is we want to see the club shaft parallel to the forearm. Now, there is a range, so let me go over the range really quickly. So what we like to see is if I were to draw a line right around the bottom part of the wrist, and I were to draw that in line with the forearm, and then if I were to go about 20 degrees over here, this would be the max point that you would want to be on the other side. So if I were to show you a club shaft position that looked over on this line right here, you wouldn't want to go more to the right than that, right? That would be way too crossed if you're past this 20 degrees. If I were to draw this line on the other side now, so if I were to go 20 degrees over here, this would be as much laid off or on the other side that you want to be over here. So again, if I draw an arrow here, you can see this line. You wouldn't want to be flatter than this 20 degrees on this side. So if you're picking up the gist here, you really have a 20-degree variance on either side to be in kind of the OK zone. If you're within those 20-degree variances on either side, you're going to be OK to good to go. If you start to get outside of those checkpoint parameters, you're going to probably have quite a bit of work to get the club shaft into proper zones on the downswing, and you're going to want to avoid that. So again, if you want to be perfect, we want to see the shaft kind of running parallel to the forearm like this. If not, be within those 20-degree variances and you're OK to go. Let's get into position 5. All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube, but before you guys click off, if you guys want to watch this full video and get all of the checkpoints for the club shaft from position 1 through position 10, make sure to sign up for the Kiwi Platinum membership site. There'll be a link down below. Not only are you going to get access to this particular video, you're going to get access to all of the other checkpoint webinar videos that we're currently creating and have created. As well, we have a bunch of other webinars on that membership site, and we have 420 videos on this site currently, and it's growing every single month. We continually post to the site. So go ahead and check that out, link down below. You're going to support this YouTube channel when you guys sign up, and you're going to get access to a bunch of great content. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.